everybody. Welcome to the channel. Oh, Custer's turning his back to us. Custer! My kitty voice again. I guess he'll listen with his back turned towards us. So we're in Leviticus chapter 4. Let's read that and yeah. So always keeping in mind that that the innocent animals are types of Jesus, representing Guster's eating the Word of God. This is his method of study. Guster, are you studying again? Because he'll rest on the Word of God. Okay, so they represent Jesus and what he ultimately did on the cross. That helps me get through Leviticus. Okay, so let's just read chapter 4. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, when anyone sins unintentionally and does what is forbidden in any of the Lord's commands, if the anointed priest sins, bringing guilt on the people, he must bring to the Lord a young bull without defect as a sin offering for the sin he has committed. He is to present the bull at the entrance to the tent of meeting before the Lord. He is to lay his hand on its head and slaughter it there before the Lord. Then the anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood and carry it into the tent of meeting. He is to dip his finger into the blood and sprinkle some of it 7 times before the Lord in front of the curtain of the sanctuary. The priest shall then put some of the blood on the horns of the altar of fragrant incense that is before the Lord in the tent of meeting. The rest of the bull's blood he shall pour out at the base of the altar of burnt offering at the entrance to the tent of meeting. He shall remove all the fat from the bull of the sin offering, all the fat that is connected to the internal organs, both kidneys with the fat on them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys, just as the fat is removed from the ox sacrificed as a fellowship offering. Then the priest shall burn them on the altar of burnt offering, but the hide of the bull and all its flesh, as well as the head and legs, the internal organs and the intestines, that is, all the rest of the bull, he must take outside the camp to a place ceremonially clean, where the ashes are thrown, and burn it there in a wood fire on the ash heap. If the whole Israelite community sins unintentionally and does what is forbidden in any of the Lord's commands, even though the community is unaware of the matter, when they realize their guilt and the sin they committed becomes known, the assembly must bring a young bull as a sin offering and present it before the tent of meeting. The elders of the community are to lay their hands on the bull's head before the Lord, and the bull shall be slaughtered before the Lord. Then the anointed priest is to take some of the bull's blood into the tent of meeting. He shall dip his finger into the blood and sprinkle it before the Lord 7 times in front of the curtain. He is to put some of the blood on the horns of the altar that is before the Lord in the tent of meeting. The rest of the blood he shall pour out at the base of the altar of burnt offering at the entrance to the tent of meeting. He shall remove all the fat from it and burn it on the altar, and do with this bull just as he did with the bull for the sin offering. In this way, the priest will make atonement for the community, and they will be forgiven. Then he shall take the bull outside the camp and burn it as he burned the first bull. This is the sin offering for the community. Okay, let's stop there. Okay, so, it's an object lesson in atonement and forgiveness of sins, and, without the shedding of blood, there can be no forgiveness of sins. You may have heard that preached in some sermon, but we're just learning, that's what it takes to be reconciled to God, which ultimately points to the blood of Christ on the cross as the sacrificial lamb, the lamb that was slain. I think the book of Revelation, okay, and I'll have to cite this verse in the description below. I'll look for it and cite this reference, but it refers to Jesus as the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world. I'll look for that. So all of this, again, points to Jesus. Okay, let's go to John chapter 8. John, 20 pages. I should just have like a little, excuse me, I can't turn the page. No, want me to turn that? Want to look at the map, Guster? Okay. John, oh, here we are. John chapter 8. Okay. Okay, so the context is Jesus went to the Jewish festival, and he faced some opposition there from the religious leaders. So, chapter 8, then they all went home, but Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. At dawn, he appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law of Moses, commanded us to stone such women." Oh, sorry, let me reread that. I read it. That's me, not the Bible. Hold on. Verse 5 again. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say? They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left, with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin." Okay, well, let's end there. Of course, I love that. Oops, sorry, Guster, didn't mean to disrupt your nap. I love that passage. It's really powerful that he,